Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the stepson of Krypton.
But I'm Mantis.
And today we are discussing something that I know has been out there quite a bit. Everybody's kind of freaked out about, but we wanted to take a little time, kind of let some things die down, and then kind of give our thoughts on it. And that is the Calverine.
The Calverine.
All right. Now, for that, spoiler alert, if you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. You should have seen it by now. But don't watch this video. And also, this news has been everywhere, so I mean, it's probably already been spoiled.
You should know by now.
Unless you fucking live in a hole. All right, I gotta stop fucking cussing this early into a video. This algorithm's tracking this shit.
Well, I thought you were gonna do, because you said the Calverine is like the perfect time to fucking cut to the intro video thing, and then we come in afterwards.
So the Calverine. All right, guys. So, for those of you who have seen Deadpool and Wolverine or do not live under a rock, you know that we have gotten to see one of the Logan variants as Deadpool's going through and doing his thing. And it was pretty unexpected, but also I think it was a very welcome surprise for a lot of us. Mantis, do you want to go over what that surprise was?
Yeah, totally caught me off guard. I didn't know it was happening. Yeah, we had a little Henry Cavill sighting in Deadpool Wolverine. He showed up as Wolverine, the Calverine, if you will.
Do I have to cut right there too?
yeah. He, he had the cigar, which I actually read, which was funny. Apparently, when they were shooting this, he was smoking that cigar the whole day and got sick apparently on it. So
yeah, he actually does a video where he talks about it. There's an interview where he talks about getting sick on it.
Remember, he was so committed. I mean, he was jacked up and he had that disgusting cigar in his mouth for hours and he was fully in it. I think he might have gotten sick to his stomach, if memory serves.
Yeah. So he, I thought he looked great. He had the full beard going on with he was working on his motorcycle with the wife beater, and I thought he looked great. A tweet he put out, which I thought was kind of funny. He said, "To be safe, I shaved off the mustache for this one, just the mustache." So, that was kind
which
of funny.
I like, because that's how we've seen, Hugh Jackman. He's had the chops going on and things, but he has like the mustache gone and everything. So I thought it looked great. Now, we did a video prior that a few of you saw of the Wolverine and the passing of the torch. This one will probably end up in the same realm, because I know we do things a little late just because we want to like let things die down in the universe, and that's probably maybe not the best thing in the world. But we like to let things kind of sink in and kind of give our opinions on it, after we've had time to kind of let things marinate, right?
Well, now I'm going to cut in here specifically this one again, like not including, this has nothing to do with Calverine or anything, but Deadpool Wolverine specifically. My thoughts changed from the day, because we did this video on Deadpool Wolverine the day after we saw it, and my opinions on a few things changed. And I had brought those up. So yeah, I mean, I think specifically on opinions on how things were done, let it simmer a little bit, let the cake bake,
Yeah, that's not the way of YouTube, unfortunately. It's kind of like one of those that, hey, you got to get it out there right away. Otherwise, the algorithm's not going to recommend you and all that stuff. But you know what? We're not always chasing that, right? Shit. No, but we're not like, but we are.
HJs for subscribers. Just saying.
He said that, not I.
I the Dollar General.
We touched on it briefly, about the Calverine, because it was awesome to see. But the reality is, we went through a lot more of the people who were kind of named as who people thought could be Wolverine. But this was pre-Deadpool and Wolverine. And then when people now have seen Henry Cavill, they're like, holy shit, he should be. Because we also did another video about Henry Cavill coming to the MCU after, how he was kind of done dirty over at DC, which even Deadpool comments on, because I've been accused on this channel of being a James Gunn groupie, and people are like, "Oh yeah, it's just because it's James Gunn, you're gonna love him." That's not true, because whether it's true or not, I still have negative feelings about the fact that they brought Henry Cavill back as Superman in Black Adam.
Black Adam.
And then, like 3 weeks later, after he announces on his own Twitter that he was back, that James Gunn came out and said, "No, we're wiping the slate clean." And there have been articles where he said, Flashpoint that happened in the Flash movie, it changed some things, but not all. No, whenever it was announced that Henry Cavill is out, he's like, "We're changing everything. We're going a completely different direction. We're starting over." Like, that was a fucking slap in the face to Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And
let's be real here. If James Gunn wanted Henry Cavill as Superman, he would have Henry Cavill as Superman.
Because the thing is, with Flashpoint, you could have said that, hey, this is the same. It's same Superman, but it's a different universe, right? You could have still. It's not even
It's not even about the canonically or lore or how it work out story wise. Like, I'm just thinking, like, business wise. James Gunn says, "I'm getting Henry Cavill Superman, or I'm walking." Like, if he wanted him as Henry Cavill, if he wanted Henry Cavill as Superman.
See, that proves right there that he is Superman, right? So he wouldn't be playing Superman; he would be playing Henry Cavill in the movie.
Yeah. Superman would be playing Henry Cavill. Exactly.
Yes, true story.
Yeah.
Again, because I do love Henry Cavill, right? Like he isn't my number one Superman, but he is, he is like
he's pretty popular.
I'm Christopher Reeves, right? Like I'm OG, but as a current Superman, I love him as Superman. I wanted to continue to see him play the character, right? So I feel like it would be because you think Superman's arguably, now there are people who choose Batman, but Superman is, your most popular DC character, arguably. Again, I'm just saying, the fandoms kind of will go either way on that. Some people will say Batman, some people will say Superman. Whereas right now, and really thank mostly to Hugh Jackman, Wolverine is like your most popular X-Men character as far as amongst the masses, right? I'm not saying the comic book people, but among the masses, everybody loves Hugh Jackman, right? He can do no wrong. That's why he's been in basically every fucking X-Men movie, and he's been the character for 24 years. Everybody loves him and all that. So, like, I think, like, going from DC, who, in my opinion, they did you dirty, right? I agree with Deadpool. And coming over to MCU and taking up the mantle of the MCU's basically most popular character. Let's just say it that way, right? Is if we consider the X-Men in the MCU now, that would be your most popular character right now, as far as amongst the masses. I think that would be a fucking.
I think the box office, and again, the box office proves the popularity of both Deadpool and Wolverine. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Deadpool is funny, but let's be real here. Like you said, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is a pretty big reason why people came to see this movie. And maybe it's just the interaction of them both together is probably it. But you're right, like, if you have I agree with Deadpool, or Ryan Reynolds in this case, whoever the writers were, writing in that joke about, those, what did he call them? Those fuck faces or whatever.
We treat you so much better than those shit fucks down the street.
Across or down the street,
yeah. It's
he didn't say fuck faces, I don't think.
He didn't, but they are. The way they treated him, I don't think it was like necessarily a fuck you. Like, I don't think Henry Cavill just is like, fuck you, DC. Like, that's not why. It's not out of spite that he did this. I think it just happened to be an opportunity. He's like, oh, that would be fucking cool, right? Like, I mean, it'd be fucking cool to be Wolverine as a cameo, as a multiverse type thing. He found me and whatever. Like, everyone's gonna freak out about it, which they did. And again, looking at his character, he looked good as Wolverine. I could see. I'm not saying they should do it. I'm just saying I could see him being a Wolverine, and he would be a good Wolverine as an X-Men. Let's put it that way. I don't know if he would be a good Wolverine in his own movie as trying to play Logan type of thing, but I think he would do well as playing Wolverine in an X-Men movie. Because like I'm thinking like I don't know why I do this, but I think I'm trying not to think of Hugh Jackman, so I can't think of any of any of the live action X-Men movies. So I'm thinking of like the old animated series Logan and Wolverine, and he just got this like you can't do that like type of demeanor, and I think like the voice and the way they portray the character in in that animated series, like I could see Henry Cavill pulling that off really well.
Got it all wrong. I was busy dreaming about taking you apart.
If he really wanted to, he didn't have much dialogue in his scene, obviously, but I think he could pull it off because Wolverine really doesn't have much dialogue as a character in at least in the animated series. So, you know, if they were going to kind of portray that X-Men or that Wolverine, I think he could do real well with it.
So let me ask you a question. Why do you think he could do well in an X-Men movie, but not in a standalone?
I think it's just because, like I said, I'm thinking of him playing the Wolverine character from the animated series. I just don't think he would do well in his own. I don't know. I guess it would just depend because like we haven't seen much of him as Wolverine. Obviously you get like what 10-15 seconds of it. I just don't know. I don't know. The way I don't know. And maybe it's just the fact that we've seen Hugh Jackman play the character so long but it's like
let me ask you a question. And this is just, but Wolverine is a character in the comics, in every depiction of basically where he's the kind of the loner, the standoff, quiet. Again,
oh yeah,
like you said, not a lot of dialogue. Is that not similar to him playing Geralt? He did amazing in that. The brooding kind of badass that doesn't say a lot. He's a man of few words. Is that not the same?
I mean, kind of, yeah. I mean, it's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. Let's put it this way. I would much rather see him start out with supporting characters, supporting mutants on like an X-Men type team up thing or a couple of them together type thing than his own solo movie. Let's put it that way.
Here's the thing with Henry Cavill. I don't know, and again, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying I personally have not seen where he's talked about a love for the character of Wolverine. I know with Geralt, he loved the Witcher games. He loved Superman, Warhammer, the movie he's trying to get working on. He loves that, right? So he is a very passionate person, and he goes after these kind of passion projects, right? He loves the character. He understands the lore, and that's why a lot of people say he can be difficult to work with, is because he wants things to stay the way he knows diehard fans are going to want to see him. And I feel like that's why he played such a great Geralt, right? So I don't know if he has a love for Wolverine or if it's one of those that he will go read a bunch of backstory. I don't know. I'm not saying it is or isn't. So I feel like that's part of what makes him great in those roles is he has a love. It is a passion. He has that gamer or that nerd, he just happens to look way better than any of the rest of us nerds of it. Yeah. But he has that. So if he has that for Wolverine, I think absolutely he will bring 110% and it'll be amazing. If this was just kind of a spoofy gag and he really doesn't give a shit whether he gets the part or not of Wolverine, then I still think it'll be a good performance. It's not going to be, again, because if whoever is cast as Wolverine next, honestly, if it is Daphne Keane as X-23, I feel like she's not going to be put up to the same bar, but because it's a different character, right? Daphne Keane has her own backstory in there, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people who want it. No. But I'm saying if you're a dude being cast as basically rebooting the character, you are going to be under heavy scrutiny. You are going to be you're going to be under a fucking microscope to see are you better?
Marvel just got the rights back to the X-Men. Why would you continue on with X-23? To me, it makes no sense. You literally just got the rights back. You need to reboot X-Men.
there are a lot of people. I'm not again for our fan base who's watching this video right now. I'm not saying you guys are, but when I'm looking at as we're kind of researching ideas for videos and we're kind of getting information together. Like there are a lot of people that were saying, hey, they loved seeing Daphne Keane back. They think they should go that route. Again, it's going to depend on how you want to do the timelines, but there are a lot of people that are. I'm not saying the majority, right? I'm just saying there are comments towards it. So I gotta feel like they're gonna weigh that in their decision.
Isn't it nice that with comic books you get this built-in crutch and safety net of multiverse?
You're not Cartman, and multiple universes are stupid.
Because I was talking to someone else about this today at my job, and I was like the DCU, MCU, they have the luxury of having multiverse. When they just want to switch some shit up, they can. And like you look at Star Wars, and I mean, unless you want to talk about like the what is it, the world between worlds or whatever the fuck it is that just I don't particularly care for. Like there's one timeline. You can't fuck it up. If you fuck it up, it's fucked, right? Like here they can just try this shit out. Oh well, we'll run it side by side. We'll do a reboot of X-Men, and then we'll keep X-23 and as the new Wolverine is Daphne Keane, and then this other like side universe thing going on, right? Like, which don't get me wrong, like the DCU is doing that right now, and I would arguably into pretty good success with the Joker and the Batman stuff and the Penguin series. Like they're leaning into that.
Now I will challenge you there because they're not doing it right now. Those are the only things right now they got going on. What we have to see is what comes out in the DCU versus what's happening in the Elseworlds, right? How are they going to stack up, and how are people going to, audience is going to respond, right? Right now, that's it. That's all they have. Whereas MCU, we got fractioning timelines going all over the place, and we're reviving characters from this timeline and bringing them over here. Whereas DC, right now, that's all you got is your Elseworlds. We got to see what happens.
I mean, they've had Flash and stuff was going on kind of the same time, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like my opinion is the comic book, not just comic books, but obviously they're adapting the movies from the comic book, so they just have a lot of leeway in writing these stories. And I'm of the opinion, I've said this multiple times on here, death has to mean something. I know it. What's in the comics, so it's canon. I'm like, and again, like I said this in another video we just did, just because it's in the comics doesn't mean it's good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that, to me, that doesn't make sense. In my opinion, I think they should reboot. I'm not saying Henry Cavill needs to be Wolverine at all. I'm talking on a larger scale here of Marvel just got the rights back to the X-Men. Deadpool did great. All the Deadpool movies did pretty well. Deadpool Wolverine is just blown away the box office. I feel like people are, I mean, the writing's on the wall, like, in my opinion. Like, I think you need to lean in, reboot X-Men. You already rebooting Fantastic Four. Henry Cavill's he doesn't have any work right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got plenty of time.
He's working on Warhammer.
He's got plenty of fucking time. He's got plenty of time. And you made a good point. Like, he did well with Geralt because he's a fan of that character. He knows the lore. I know he knows who Wolverine is, maybe not to the extent he did Geralt, but it's pretty easy to read up on the character, and it's pretty easy to fall in love with that character too.
Well, and I'm sure he's been a fan of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, as we all have, right? Like, I'm sure he's stayed up on these. Again, that's why I'm not speaking to his competency of knowledge of the character of Wolverine, Logan, all that. I'm just saying that now. Let me ask you a question. So, for all of you diehard fans who have been here since the beginning, we appreciate and love you guys in a platonic way. We did a video a while back about.
Isn't that what platonic means?
I think nowadays, I think that's good, right?
I don't know.
That's the.
I don't know. Let me know if I'm making mistakes there.
That's the whole, hey, like you're a boss, bitch. All right, you go get it. But
maybe explain the weird looks I'm getting. Anyway,
yes. But we did a video when we talked about Henry Cavill coming to the MCU, and one of the rumors at that time was him being Captain Britain, right? So, would you rather see him in that kind of role or as Wolverine?
Dude, I've already had a little bit of taste. You know, I had a little taste of Calverine. I want the whole thing now, I think.
See, I'm of the same opinion. Like that was the thing. That's the problem, right? Because again,
Yeah.
you think about these people, but kind of like Hugh Jackman. Nobody was thinking about Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in 2000 when he basically replaced the outgoing actor to play Wolverine, and now we can't unsee it, right? Like we can't
exactly.
unsee him as that. After seeing the Calverine, I'm like, I want more, right? Like I just feel like, mother of God. I know we talked about Zac Efron and a couple other people possibly playing it, but fuck, he fits it so damn well. When he was in the beater, like with the motorcycle, cigar smoke, oh my God, like it was just like all right, yes,
good.
you could take up the mantle, and he's still well within the age range, right? He's in his I think he might be 40. He's just slightly younger than I am, I believe.
It would be totally within realm. Because here's the thing, like again, Wolverine has been alive for ever, right? Like, and you get kind of a dose of that. Obviously, if you're not familiar with the comics, if you watch the movies, at least you see them through the ages, especially with I forget what movie it was with Sabretooth, because they were showing them in the wars here and there.
X-Men
right?
Origins Wolverine.
Origins, yes. Like, I mean, you see him; he's been alive for a long time. The way he looks, he doesn't have to look young. That's not a thing, right? Like, age is not a thing with Wolverine, so he could be at any age.
Yeah,
and Henry Cavill's got the range too. He still looks fairly young. I think he looked pretty accurate. I mean, in there, I mean, he had some gray, I think, in his beard or going gray, if I remember. And I mean, it didn't look too bad to me. So I think him playing Wolverine is a viable option if they want to do it. And my last thoughts here, like you said, I've seen it. It's too late. You've done broken the seal. So.
Well, the thing is, we talked about him, and they have, we just did videos on it, but they talked about him coming to Marvel, and I'm like, oh, that's so perfect, right? So perfect, because then, he is kind of like, he's not a villain, but he is kind of more of the asshole-ish role, which I would love, like, if you've seen, what is it, Mission Impossible Fallout, where he, he I'm not even gonna fucking say spoiler alert. All right, it's been out long enough, but he is the villain in that. But he's so awesome in it. Like, he's so charismatic that you still love him as the villain, and he's great in that. Like, I know Logan's obviously not, but he's also not Mr. Friendly. I feel like he could do great in it. He'd be awesome. He's already. I mean, he's so fucking jacked. And hats off to Hugh Jackman for continuing to stay, and get go up and down. We did the video on it. Go watch that one about him. But I mean, he is amazing. If he could stay in the role, I'm here for it. But if he has to pass the torch, dude, give me the Calverine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love DC. They're more my favorite, but I think you did him dirty. Go over to MCU as Wolverine. You shouldn't have done Henry Cavill the way you did.
Yep, you fucked up. You done fucked up.
Yep. You're gonna learn today, and I feel like DC's gonna take a hard lesson in that, because he's gonna go over to He's gonna go over to the MCU in some form or another, right? Just because, I mean, why not, right? They obviously want you. And he's testing well with audiences. Like, audiences blew up at the Calverine. Ryan Reynolds did it best in the movies. Like, you are one. Like, this is what we wanted. It's perfect and all that. So, like, I don't feel like we're alone here. I'm not saying he's the perfect Wolverine, but I mean, mother of God, he is. It was awesome to see him as that, and still got the love for Henry Cavill, right? So that's my 2 cents. Let us know down in the comments, what is your 2 cents? Did you love the Calverine? Would you love to see him? Again, assuming obviously the DC career is done for the foreseeable future, right? I know there's been a couple little articles, clickbaity bullshit about, oh, he's coming back. No, he's basically done. Yeah, I don't foresee him being Red Sun Superman. I think it's done. So would you like to see the Calverine? Are you excited for it? Did that give you a partial chuck? Because I got one.
It did. I did.
All right.
My popcorn bag moved a little bit.
I was right next to him. I can confirm that's true. So, all right, guys, before this gets too R-rated and YouTube decides to take it down, if you have made it with us this far, consider giving this video a like. He's going to show you. I keep saying where. He is going to show you the direction of the directions that are going to tell you where down below the video where to. It's walking across the fucking screen, making it more difficult for me.
Yep.
And consider subscribing to the channel so you do not miss any of our DC and MCU content. I'm about to say MC.
We do some MCU stuff. We do occasionally.
We try to give it its fair because, I mean, guys, we are also fans of Marvel as well. Granted, we side more on DC. We love the DC characters more, but we still do love what Marvel's done. We never want to trash anybody who, dude, if you're more of a Marvel fan, that's okay. You're still welcome in this space, right? Safe space.
Bulletproof windows.
Troll safe doors. My safe space.
You're still welcome here, man. Just try not to be a douche. Just be respectful. You can have your opinions as well as other people can too. Speaking of which, as we're relating into that, comment down below. Let us know what you think, and you can do it without being a douche. Like, feel free. It's open. However, if you can't contain yourself, we never block, remove comments. It's free speech. You do whatever you want. You're allowed your own opinion.
But if you are going to be a douche, make sure you roast the fuck out of us.
And dude, come up with something clever. Don't say you guys are dumb.
Yeah.
Like, come up with something clever.
I want something good.
Like, okay, I need Deadpool level of roasting, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're allowed to do it. Even if you do it as a joke, which it should be. I mean, I feel like you shouldn't be, serious on it. But if you are, hey, cool. But it better be fucking good. You guys are stupid or you don't know what you're talking about. Come up with something original. Fuck. I'm just kidding, but not really. All right, guys. Mantis, unless you have anything else.
Nope.
That is going to wrap it for us here on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we will see you then.
Later.